you write the subject in it without having the actual video in it. Now I add the YouTube icon into it so that it shows that it's a video.
So hi everyone, and today I've got a lady called Tuula with me, and we've known each other for a few months now, and she started out working in the digital media, but what she then has a hobby that she brought over to YouTube, and actually that is the thing that's grown and become this amazing huge YouTube channel. And she has a wealth of knowledge about not only business but about using YouTube and then how to leverage some of the other platforms to bring viewers into her YouTube channel.
Okay, yeah, hello. So I live in Finland, and but I have lived like in Britain for many years, as well as in the Central Europe.
Your YouTube channel as it is now is really big, and it's something that people might think you did purposefully, but it didn't quite start out that way, did it? Can you tell me how the channel that you've got now originally started, and then how you noticed that it started to grow?
Yes, it was just a channel that I had to show whatever personal videos to friends, and because I'm in many craft Facebook groups, somebody was asking a question that was difficult to answer by just writing. So I made a video, a very extremely bad quality video, and posted it to them. And they said it was good, you know, it helped them with what it was. And I left it there and never looked at it for a long time. And then when I did look at it, it had something like 30,000 views. So I don't know, I still don't know what made it go viral, but it continues now. It has nearly 3 million views. Sorry, actually it's not that video. Then I made a better one of the same subject, and it also went viral. Yes, the way I do the title normally is, yes, it says exactly what it is. So I don't try to do any sort of tricks with it, you know. It has to say exactly what it is. But often I do search both just on Google and in Pinterest to see if, when I put a couple of those words in, to see what comes up, and then that does influence the title that I decide on then normally. So
Great.
that so that it has as many words that people search for as possible, but at the same time that it tells exactly what the content is.
Yeah, because it seems to me that you're getting that title creation, you're probably intuitively getting it correct, and then so it's great to hear that you are actually using some of those techniques to check in and see what those words are that pop up.
Yes,
that's quite an easy method as well, isn't it? It's the autofill that you're seeing the words come up when you start typing a title in.
Yeah, that helps a lot. Yeah.
You mentioned Pinterest, and you know that's something I'm really interested about. And the reason why I'm interested in Pinterest currently is because I really don't use it at all. I use it personally, but I don't use it in my business at all. I do have a business channel, although that's not for this kind of YouTube side of my business. It's when I first started out in corporate business and I started pinning things on it, but I've never looked into it. And then I've recently heard a few podcasts starting to come out that are talking about, you've got to change your mindset around Pinterest. You've got to see Pinterest more as a search engine, and that people are finding that they're getting some really good results in their business through using Pinterest. What that you've tried and hasn't worked, and what are you finding that's working currently? I mean, how are you using Pinterest?
Well, I have been using it for years for personal reasons, but sort of systematically only for the last year and a half or so. And the main thing for me in it is to have found little by little more and more good quality group boards that have lots and lots of followers, and that way you get lots and lots of shares. It's actually something fairly similar happened in Pinterest as in YouTube, that I had put in a pin that was a link to my blog that had a pattern for a Christmas decoration, and that went viral quite quickly. Now Pinterest no longer tells you how many repins you have, but before that stopped, I had 40,000 on one pin. So, and that keeps bringing, now I have an automated system that keeps bringing me lots of people on my email list still, like every day, about, well, I don't know how many, but every day I get more people from that. But for YouTube, it's also, well, now YouTube, you are very dependent on the YouTube algorithm, but most of the people who view my videos, they come from YouTube's own whatever, where they show it. Yeah. But then there's this in the analytics, it tells you this external, and by far most of those for me are Pinterest. So it's definitely the number one source of new viewers for YouTube as well.
And you know, that's like a double whammy effect, because if you're bringing, so you'll bring your highest source of views coming to your channel, if they're coming from anywhere external from YouTube, YouTube really rewards your channel for that, and they'll surface your videos in searches more frequently as well. Yeah, currently, then you're not uploading videos into Pinterest, though, are you?
No. In some ways, you could say you cannot even do that directly, but there is a way in Pinterest when you in YouTube, when you take this button share, that gives you the link. There's all these icons for social media and other things. So if you just click the Pinterest there, then it makes a small pin where when somebody opens it, the video starts to play on its own. But I'm not using that anymore for two reasons. One is that, well, the main reason is that the pin that Pinterest makes is not the sort that is not easily noticed because it's so small. It's only something like 5 centimeters high on a screen, big screen, and it's not vertical. And most group boards require you to only use vertical pins, so that they are like, is it 2 to 3, well, whatever, they are clearly vertical, so that you actually make the pin and you write the subject in it without having the actual video in it. Now I add the YouTube icon into it so that it shows that it's a video. YouTube, there's a page in YouTube where you can get that from, so it's legal. and then I link it to the video directly. So when somebody clicks, then it goes into YouTube. It doesn't go into my blog.
Right. So you're creating your own pin, like a thumbnail, you could call it, that you're then uploading, and that's a vertical image. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see lots of, I don't remember, I would see it in my computer if I checked, but I don't remember now the exact dimensions that they need to be, but they are very easy to find, just by Googling, because...
Yeah, well, what I might do is in the description under the video, I'll link to your YouTube channel and your Pinterest site, and then I'll find the dimensions and put them down in the description of this video, so then people can go and see exactly what you're doing.
Right, yes, okay, yeah.
And where are you making your thumbnails or your images that you're pinning? What software are you using?
I use Photoshop or sometimes GIMP, but like Canva, lots of people use Canva, and it has great templates also for Pinterest. It actually has the right sizes already in it.
Okay.
I've made my own templates in Photoshop, so that like I have my logos and things, addresses in the pin, at the bottom of the pin.
Right. Okay. So when you're talking about the pin, are you talking about just the image that you're uploading, or does that include do you add text?
You need to add text, yes. You need to add text and have as good a description as possible. And Pinterest actually changed the way they work. They're about only maybe 3-4 months ago. Until then, they said not to use hashtags, but then they suddenly said, okay, start using hashtags. So it's important now to add a few hashtags, not as many as in Instagram or something, but 3 or 4, add it to every pin description.
And then in the actual image, are you writing text in the image as well, or is it mostly?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, I do. And the one important thing for that is that Pinterest keeps, well, all of these things do, but Pinterest especially keeps changing all the time how it works. And there's now already been, I think, 2 sort of trial periods that it has taken away all the descriptions. So people only see the pin. Now,
okay.
Yeah, it works like Facebook, for instance, that it rolls the things out. So some things only work in America, for instance. That the descriptions not showing never came to Finland, but I know many Americans were talking about that, and they could do that anytime, which would mean that my pins would be worth nothing if they don't have the text in them. The YouTube pin title, what I write on it is the same as the video title.
Right.
Or
yeah,
almost the same.
Right, that's good to know. Because I suppose I'm thinking of the way that I would create a thumbnail for YouTube. And I'm thinking, okay, how would I then just pretty much take the same elements and adapt it just into that vertical? Would that work? Is that the same kind of?
Yeah, I actually often I do that anyway, because it depends a bit on the subject of my video, that often I also blog about it. And then I make a vertical Pinterest image into that is directly in my blog post. And then in those cases, I don't necessarily make a second pin that goes to the video directly, because I want people to go to my blog as well. This is actually something I'm not really sure yet what way I should need to go. Most good group boards don't like the fact that you have two pictures going to the same link. So right. That's when you have to decide what you want to do, what is important.
Whether you would have to have 2 images, one that takes you to YouTube and one that takes you to the blog post, but if they're of the same content.
Yes, and you can't put those on the same board. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of make the images look different. Or
yes.
Do you have to just choose it's going to be going to the content on the blog or the content on the YouTube?
It depends, because I automate my pins a lot. I use Board Booster. And then if I was doing only hand pinning, then I would be able to choose that I put this one on that board and another one on another board. But because I automate it, I can't dare to risk that I get, removed from a board because I pin against their rules.
Clearly so much I don't know about Pinterest, because so you've already touched on another 2 things there that I'm like, oh, what's that? I've not heard of that before. So the 2 things are, so one that you've mentioned, that there's like you're pinning on other boards.
Yeah.
So what are those? Are they kind of like, is that like someone else's, if you were to compare it to Facebook, is that like on someone else's page or someone else's group? Or is that just
either?
How does that work?
Either would be similar. Yeah, either would be similar in Facebook. You can freely create group boards, but the hard thing is to get good pinners on them. So that's why I haven't bothered. I have one. I only own one, and it's for Finnish craft blogs only. Mm-hmm. But all the ones that I belong to, they are basically hosted by sort of big names in the crochet and knitting world. And it takes time that you get accepted. They always check what you have. You can get accepted on smaller and starting group boards easily, but then those are not much good because they don't have a great following. Some of these boards that I belong to, they have over 100,000 people following them. So you get lots and lots of people noticing your pins then.
So how do you find these boards? So, because obviously I'm thinking, and as lots of people that'll be watching this might not be crafters, and that's already the podcasts that I'd listened to that I've made my ears prick up about Pinterest was from business coaches. So it's not, I think also the other perception is that people think, oh, Pinterest is just for fashion, it's just for craft, it's just for interior design or things that are very visual in that way. But it's not. I think more and more it is something which can be accessed by people who might have a service-based business. But how do you find, how would I, for example, go about finding a board that might be to do with building a business using video or something along those lines? Is there a way that you search for the boards, or?
Yes, there's a way to search for the boards, but the best way really is to first find people who are influential in your industry.
Okay.
And then see what group boards they are on. The group boards are normally at the bottom or when you go into somebody's profile, and see what ones they are on, and then see which ones of if you could get on those. Now, lots of boards don't accept new contributors, so it's a long-term thing, to get on them.
Right.
Some of them actually say that we are now open for new contributors, and then there may even be an email address there. That is actually an annoying thing, trying to get on them, because lots of them, they actually would accept people, but they don't tell how. So you have to, normally what you need to do is to make send a Pinterest message to the first person who's mentioned as a contributor, because that's the owner.
Right.
But then they may notice it, or they may or may not notice it, because Pinterest is not something that you would use much for messaging and even for commenting or anything. It really is just a search engine now. So it takes a while. I mean, I'm now on, I think, about 16, 17 group boards, and it's taken me a year to find those and get on them. Although now I haven't been active. I have a list of the boards that I would like to get on, and little by little then I go through and I add to that list when I find a new good one.
It's really paying off. If you're getting so many new viewers to your channel, it's really driving people to that platform for you. Yes.
Like at the moment I wouldn't really have to do, I mean, I can always grow that part of it, but I don't have to in a way, because now I am on enough good boards. I have it automated. So all I need to do is every time when I make a new video, I will make a new pin and I put it into a certain folder so that it also starts spreading automatically.
So that was my next question that you mentioned, that I was like, oh, that's interesting. That there's a software that will automate this for you. So you said that you've got it on automation. So what's that stuff? And I'll put a link to it in the description as well, so people don't have to get their pen and paper out and start making notes. Right. But what is that, and how does it help you?
There's two main ones. One is called Tailwind. I'm not using that one. I'm using one that's called Board Booster. Lots of people actually use both, and then there are other ones as well, but these are the two main ones. Board Booster it's not expensive, but it costs a bit. At the moment, it costs very little. At the moment, I'm on a scheme that costs, I think, $5 or $10 a month, and then you can pin so many pins until you have to go to a higher scale again. But it has lots of different ways you can use it. You can create campaigns that send pins to certain boards, and like the way I have those, it depends on how active the board is. So on some of the group boards I belong to, I have automated the pins to go one a day, but some are not as active, so then there's a pin every 3 days, for instance, to make sure that you don't have too many there and then they kick you out if you overuse it. Then there are other kind of automation in there, like when you make a new pin, if you want to have it quicker on all the different boards, then you can actually time it to go, because you would never do you would never make a new pin and then pin it on all the boards one after another, because then if somebody comes to your profile just then, they think that you're only pinning your own stuff, and that's not a good thing either. So you need to pin other people's things as well. Now, yeah, so there's a thing that where bloggers and other online business owners have two different opinions on whether you only pin other people's pins on your own boards or whether you also pin them on group boards. I have been changing back and forth. At the moment, I'm only automating my own pins.
Right.
It can be done either way.
So on your own board, you've got your pins, but then you're also pinning other people's pins.
On my own boards, I mainly pin other people's things. Because that's the only way really to get people to follow you. Although now in Pinterest, the number of your followers is not important, because it really works like a search engine. Anybody can find your pins even if you don't have any followers. But if you don't have any, it doesn't look very professional, say.
Yeah.
I mean, we have about a couple of thousand followers only.
Yeah, it's like that social proof thing, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. Yes. So the thing what you want to do is that, say for instance, I have a board that is YouTube tips, it's called that. So on that I pin anything interesting that I find on, not only in Pinterest but anywhere. Like I have lots of things of you in there. Your videos, they are on my board. So when I find something that's good, I pin it there. I make a new pin instead of using a pin that's already in Pinterest. And then another thing with the board booster, that I'm also have it automatically looping my own pins, because on some boards I have hundreds of pins and nobody would ever go to the end of it. So I have it automated so that it takes the last one and moves it to the front once a day or twice a day or 3 times a day. And then after so many days, it deletes the one that gets less repins.
So what kind of duration are you finding is working best for you at the moment?
The shorter the better, but I think that's also because the subject, so 4 or 5 minutes is the best.
Right, yeah. Because I think not that long ago, or maybe I suppose over a year ago perhaps, it was the 2 minutes and under. But I think now it is more, it's like a bit longer than that.
Yeah, a bit longer than that. Like I have, most of my videos are around 10 minutes or more.
Yeah. But at the moment, that's generally what I'm starting to think now. Is that it's 8 to 12 minutes, that kind of like that longer window is doing quite well, which is interesting because I think on Facebook it still is the 2 minutes and under.
Yes. But it depends again what you do. It depends so much on what the subject is.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, thank you so much. This has been such a great chat, and I've really enjoyed hearing all about Pinterest and your channel. And there's so much useful information there. I can't wait now to go away and have a little play in Pinterest and have a dig around and start to see what it's all about.